The Isle being on the top 100 most played is a disgrace and a lie. In the Isle, you have to wait sometimes 4, 6, and up to 12 hours to grow to full growth. That is not an exaggeration. That is sitting there playing, hiding, eating, drinking, and doing nothing meaningful for a literal half a day just to reach adult. Even on unofficial 5x growth servers, you are still looking at 2, 3, and sometimes 6 hours just to get one dinosaur to full. That is time investment that feels completely disconnected from actual gameplay. In Path of Titans, no dinosaur takes longer than an hour or 2 to grow. You can actually play the game, progress at a steady pace, and not feel like your entire day is being wasted. When you die in the Isle, you lose all progress and have to restart from 0%. Everything you did is gone. All that time, gone. You're back to being a fresh spawn with nothing. When you die on Path of Titans, you lose about 50% of your progress, but you do not have to recreate your dinosaur. You keep your character, you keep your identity, and you are not thrown completely back to the start for one mistake or one bad encounter. The Isle only lets you play one dinosaur at a time. You are locked into that single creature. And if it dies, that is it. There is no switching, no variety, no backup. Path of Titans allows you to create multiple dinosaurs and save them to play later even if they are killed. You can swap between them, experiment, and not feel punished for trying different playstyles. Stamina regeneration on the Isle is fixed on preventing people going on battle sprees or hunting sprees. It is designed to slow down gameplay and actively hinder the ability for carnivores to hunt other carnivores or herbivores. Most dinosaurs take anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, sometimes even 25 minutes, to go from empty stamina back to full. That is not engaging, that is just waiting around doing nothing. In Path of Titans, the stamina regeneration is dinosaur specific, and none take longer than 30 seconds to a minute to fully recharge from 0. You can move, fight, and actually play without sitting still for long stretches. The Isle only has 17 playable dinosaurs, and they plan to add more. However, keep in mind since June 18th, 2020, when the Evrima branch was released, it took them 5 fucking years to add in the T-Rex as a playable. That is one dinosaur over half a decade. So realistically, any future dinosaurs you are looking at years and years of waiting for each one. Path of Titans, however, has 18 core dinosaurs as officials. Then, through the power of the community via modding, Path of Titans has over 60 playable dinosaurs, beasts, and fantasy creatures. The variety is not even comparable. I could go on and on about how bad the Isle is, but I think you get the point. The only thing going in the Isle's favor is the fact their unofficial servers can have up to 400 players at once. Besides that, Path of Titans comes out as the clear victor by that alone. And the only thing holding back Path of Titans is the fact it is not on Steam, because they do not want Steam to take a cut of their profits. So, now that we have established the Isle being a dogshit game, I was recently looking for a new game and saw that the Isle had made a resurgence, ranking 100 on the top 100 most played games. So I asked myself, how the fuck did this happen? So I looked into it myself. I started digging into player counts, activity, and what people were actually seeing in game versus what was being shown publicly. And what I found did not add up. I was going to put all of that information into this video, break it down piece by piece, and show exactly where things were not lining up. But then I found a video of someone already doing that work. The video breaks down the lie on their player count, showing how the game is being made to look more popular than it actually is. The numbers do not reflect real, active players in the way they are being presented. And instead of making the exact same video with the exact same points, I am just going to show Feudal Summer's findings in a clip, because they line up with what I found myself.
While scrolling through the Steam charts, I noticed the player counts for the Isle. Now if you don't know, SteamDB basically tracks how many people are playing a game at any given time through Steam. Daily, monthly, yearly averages, everything. And what I saw made my brain stop for a second. It said, the Isle currently had 8,256 people playing right now. 8,000 players. And I thought, there's no way, but that's not true. There's no way there are that many people playing the Isle right now. So I decided to add up the total players on all the Isle of Evrima servers, which included every official server, every Horde test server, and every unofficial community server, keeping in mind that some people might be in the queue to get onto some of these servers. To my surprise, the number I got was just short of 3,000 players. I came to 2,776 players. I also configured my Steam settings so that I could see every server possible. I also asked the server owner if it was possible to make a private hidden server that doesn't appear on the list to make sure I wasn't accidentally missing a bunch of hidden servers. So it turns out, you can make a private server on the Isle, but you can't hide it on the search results. So the count was more or less accurate. if you check the Hortez servers, the official servers, community servers, and add up all those players, it doesn't even come close to 8,256. I've calculated every player count online right now, keeping in mind it was the weekend at peak player times, and I got the total 2,776 players. So there could not actually be 8,256 players playing the Isle of Rima right now, right? It just could not be true. So that got me thinking, where are the remaining 5,000 players? Where are the 66% of players that are supposedly playing the game right now? So the investigation began. My first immediate thought was, maybe 66% of the player base is playing the Isle Legacy. Now, here's the thing, when you buy the Isle on Steam today, for whatever reason, it still forces you to download the Legacy version first. You have to manually switch it over to Evrima yourself. The devs never updated that process. And I remember, when I downloaded the Isle 7 months ago, I downloaded the Isle Legacy on accident. I fired it up, and the server lists were completely flooded with Chinese servers. I mean, hundreds of them, completely packed. So I thought, wait a second, could those missing like nearly 5,500 players be playing the Isle Legacy, the original outdated version of the game? So I boot up Legacy, and sure enough, my memory was right, an endless list of Chinese servers. Pools and pools of Chinese servers, all with similar names, all showing ridiculous player counts, like 168 out of 200, or 192 out of 200. Every single one of them, or most of them, looked identical. Alright, same names, same icons, same player numbers. It was really weird. So I decided to join one of these servers to see if they actually had real players on them. And after joining, immediately I noticed that they did actually have real players. I joined multiple servers, and the random ones I joined actually had a lot of players. Each one I joined, the ones I joined, had over 100 players each. These players were real. They were interacting with me. They all had unique IDs, profile photos, and they were speaking in the chat, obviously in Chinese. But these servers weren't devoid of life, but definitely nowhere near full. So the player counts on the server lists were completely fake, 100%. But when you join, you can clearly see the actual real player count.
Now that you have been told the truth, the time to switch over to Path of Titans is now. While Path of Titans has its own freak show problems, the game itself is not the problem, whereas the Isle, as a game, is the problem itself. I know I cannot force you to switch, but I can at least ask that you expose the Isle's lies, as they have been known to do, to your friends and player bases. People deserve to know what they are actually investing their time into. And if you do continue to play on the Isle, the best way to fight back right now is to actively start ruining the experience and drive people off the game. The Isle's anti-cheat is a failure, and there is 0% chance of you getting banned from official servers. But you can be banned on unofficial servers because they actually have active staff. Stop feeding into it like everything is fine, because it is not. The Isle is a failure, and it needs to go bankrupt. The game has been in early access for years, and even on the store page it says, "Note, the last update made by the developers was over 4 years ago. The information and timeline described by the developers may no longer be up to date." That alone should tell you everything you need to know. Have a good day, and fuck the Isle.